All right, guys. So this page provides information about moving to Thailand on a digital travel visa, which is the DTV, and the alternatives for short-term stays. It summarizes the visa options, the steps I follow to get approved, and like the pros and cons of like popular approaches. So feel free to watch the video for the story, and then this document serves as a reference point. So let's do the overview of the DTV visa. So there are a few different types. So it's called the Destination Thailand visa. It's not a single one size fits all visa. It has multiple routes you can go about to actually get approved, and they're designed for different types of applicants. So DTV workation slash remote work. This is the one that I use. And then you have DTV soft power activities, which is when you have to do things like Muay Thai, language learning, what else? And there's a cooking class you can also do. And there's DTV for other qualifying lifestyle activities, and it varies by whatever embassy you use. So, or the visa outcome, the length of stay is similar. The documentation and evaluation criteria may differ a little bit depending on the route. And so, for the remote work, financially independent route, which is considered the workcation route. So, what is that? Well, this path is designed for people who work remotely for a foreign employer, operate a foreign business, and are financially independent with consistent foreign income. It allows you to stay in Thailand for up to 180 days at a time, and the visa in total is eligible for 5 years. So, what that means is every 180 days, you have to just go get another stamp just to kind of pretty much say you are still here, whatever the case may be. But like I said, it's for 5 years and it's multiple years, so you can leave and come back whenever you want and things like that. So, like I said, this route is for people who work remotely for a foreign employer, operate a foreign business, and are financially independent with consistent foreign income. And you cannot work for Thai companies and you do not earn Thai source income. This is important. So, I don't think you'll be able to come here and like start a business for Thai people or something like that. You won't get approved. So, this route prioritizes financial stability and clarity and not participating in Thai programs that we mentioned earlier. So, what the embassy focuses on for the workcation applicants. So, from my experience and just what they have on the site, which we'll go over later, financial stability is the most important. They want to see a clear, concise source of income, enough funds to support long-term stays, and then a minimum 500,000 baht for the last 6 months. And so that's about 15,000 USD. And then no reliance on local employment. And this is why the bank statements matter more than almost anything else. So your bank statements, they need to be consistent and show, coherence. So not just the balance, but they want to see regular income deposits from the same source. And then it's a source that you have to clearly, explain like where is this money coming from and, is it sustainable? So yeah, no crazy irregular transfers. If showing your bank statements that you just put the money in there from last month, with no explanation, that you probably won't get approved. They want to show that see that you've had this money and you're able to sustain this money over a period of time. And tax compliance. Oh, a good tip is make sure you highlight the recurrent income lines from your directly in the statements before uploading it. So if you have a client that sends money every month, whatever the case may be, make sure you highlight that so they're able to clearly see where your money is coming from and that it's consistent over this period of time. And then they want to show that you're tax compliant too. They do ask for like tax documents that I had to send in. So they want to see your income tax document. But if your income is non-taxable, you still need to show proof of tax compliance, a short explanation clarifying why income does not appear on tax forms, whatever the case may be. So that's will avoid any like follow-up requests. Yeah, so you want a clean narrative across the documents also. So the embassy cross checks like visa application answers, the bank statements, tax records, cover letters, and passport entry history because you aren't able to apply for the DTV visa while you're already in the country. So you have to be outside of Thailand to apply for the visa. And everything should tell the same story. I live on a foreign income, I'm financially stable, and I'm not working in Thailand. So, yes, and it took me, I applied in December, and it took about 3 weeks from the time I applied to the time I was actually approved. And I think some of that was because my application was through the holidays, like around like Christmas time, and then it led into the new year where they took time off. So it could be faster than the experience I had, but just be mindful of that. So how does the workation route differ from other DTV routes? Well, the DTV soft power route is the more popular route. This route focuses on participation in approved Thai programs, so cultural, creative, educational, and like training activities. So like I said, the Muay Thai, the language learning, and like the cooking classes are options people you typically use. And so instead of an income emphasis, applicants usually need enrollment letters saying that that they're going to be attending this class for the next year or whatever set period of time. And yeah, so program confirmations, proof of schedule activities, and sometimes it has a minimum participation period. The financial requirements may be lower, but the program verification is a little stricter. So, key takeaway: the DTV is not about what you want to do in Thailand; it's about how you support yourself without Thailand supporting you. And basically, they don't want people coming here and end up, homeless or not able to contribute to, the society. So that is why they have this vetting program, and they've gotten stricter about certain applications and things like that, which we'll go over a little bit later. And so for choosing the correct DTV route and preparing the documents and stuff like that, a DTV workation route is recommended if you are a remote worker, a business owner with foreign clients, a creator with recurrent income, and financially independent. This route offers the most flexibility and the lowest long term friction for independent professionals. And so, what I mean by this is that if you go the workation route, you won't be tied to one of those classes we talked about for the soft power route. I believe for soft power, you will still need to have and show that you have the 500,000 baht minimum. But I think the requirements for recurring income is less, so you don't have to show as much sustained income as if you were to say you're coming to do Muay Thai or learn a language and things like that. So that would be the primary difference between the workation and the soft power. One, you will have to, they may, have to show that you are attending these classes properly and things like that. Workation, you don't have any ties to like a class. You can kind of do what you want to do and move around how you want to. And next, we'll go over the application process for the workation. So you have to gather these documents. That's going to be the biggest thing. That's what kind of took me a little bit of time. You have to have a valid passport, 6 months validity, remote employment or contract proof, the bank statements, last 6 months showing you have the $500,000 by minimum, the tax returns, last, I think, 2 years, or exemption letter showing why you were exempt. And they also sometimes want to see health insurance with the $50,000 plus coverage. And if you don't have these documents, then sometimes they'll request that you send them in and they'll tell you what they need from you. But it can delay your process. So the point here is to try to avoid that if we can. And the application can be completed online. So you submit your application through the Thai e-visa portal and you attach the supported documents and then you pay the visa fee, which there is a fee. And yep, wait for approval. So processing can take several weeks. Make sure you apply well before your intended arrival. And so once approved, you'll receive a DTV approval letter usually through the email, and then you'll be able to present it upon arrival. It'll give you, you want to make sure you print out that approval letter. You go ahead and do your, um, like your arrival card for Thailand, and then make sure they actually give you a DTV stamp for the 180 days instead of like a tourist visa for the 30 days or 60, whatever the case may be. Now, one thing to note is that you have to apply from, it changes depending on where you apply from. So they will ask you on the application, where you are applying from, or where you plan on arriving from, type of thing. And don't be worried, like you don't have to actually fly in from that place or arrive from whichever place you apply from, because that was something I initially thought at first, um, but that isn't the case. And if you do decide to come here in Thailand, maybe you come on a tourist visa, and you want to see the place and things like that, and you decide you want to apply for a DCB visa. Like I said, you can apply while you're in the country, but you can go to a few of the neighboring countries around here. Vietnam is popular, so Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh are popular places to apply from. You still have Malaysia and things like that. So there are options if you are here to apply. You just have to leave the country, which is why they will request that you send in a picture of your passport in every page, and they will check the stamp, and they want to make sure that you are in Thailand while you're doing it. So just be mindful of that. All right. And yeah, so if you do get deprived, and when you do, you comply with the TM30 and then 90-day reporting. You register your address with the TM30 whenever you get a place or find a place you're going to be staying, which is typically the owner, or is that something they do, and they should give you a copy of it. And for those of you, like, say, you don't think you want to stay for 5 years, or maybe you don't have the, $500,000 bot to present, there still are alternatives for you to come here. So don't feel out of luck like you can't come here or you can't move here. There are alternatives. They just are a different route. So one of the popular ones is the education visa. And this is where you enroll in a Thai language course or other approved education program like the cooking or Muay Thai. And on a 90-day visa, renewable up to 1 year. So you can just keep renewing it up to 1 year on the education visa. And it requires attending classes regularly and does not authorize employment. But many nomads use it to stay longer than the tourist visa. So the alternative to this is that, yes, if you do the education visa, then your visa is directly tied to whatever soft power education course that you want to do. And so there may be some places where they aren't super strict on attendance, or maybe they are willing to negotiate and maybe essentially, tell the government, or if asked, that you still attend, that you may be able to work out. But I wouldn't count on that and just assume that if you go this route, that you will have to, attend the classes in whatever capacity is required for whatever company you pick. And with that, you don't have to show, the that you have $500,000 in bot to do that. You just pay for whatever course or soft power activity you want to do. You provide the information for that, and you can get approved from there. But from my experience, for a year, um, a lot of these courses are around $1,200. So you still will need some money. I don't think there's a real sustainable route to come here if you don't have some form of income. It can be difficult, although it may be possible. And then you have the tourist visa and extension. So a single entry visa allows 60 days, and it can be extended once for another 30 days. And we'll discuss that a little bit also about visa runs and things like that. And so for the next one, we have the STV, which is a special tourist visa. And it's fairly new. It's introduced just to kind of encourage tourism. When it can get a 90-day stay and can be extended twice for up to 9 months. Less common, but it is a option, if you want to do that. And then the Thailand EV retirement visa. So this is a higher cost option for people who are older age, and still have, a substantial amount of income, and they want to retire here and come here and live. I think this is up to 10 years, 10-year visa. And the primary difference for one is the 10-year part, and as well as the fact that these visas will allow you to open like a bank and things like that, which typically a DTV visa or like a tourist visa wouldn't allow you to do. So yes. And all right, let's get to some of the riskier methods that have been popular in the past when it came to living in Thailand. So there's something called visa runs, where some travelers will come on a tourist visa, which is the 30, 60-day visa that can be extended for another 30 days up to 90 days. And previously, going into last year, travelers would go to neighboring countries and return to obtain a new visa or entry step. Now, they've come out before. There wasn't really any, mandates or legislation really against this. So people were able to utilize this, and sometimes people ran into issues and things like that. But they were able to utilize this method to, stay in Thailand for long periods of time. Late last year, they've come out and said, that they're cracking down on this, and they're only allowing people to do this twice a year. So you can do the 60-day visa and, extend it like 30 days for 90 days, only twice a year. And the max amount of time you're able to stay here through tourist visas is 180 days. So be mindful of that, guys. I know there's been people in the past that may have been preaching or talking about this method or have done this method, but there's also been a ton of people who have, over the last few months, talked about not being able to get back into Thailand, and their experience with that, because they have been cracking down on this because they don't want people circumventing the actual long-term visa process to do that. And they've had issues with people coming and ended up homeless or having these issues and embassy and stuff like that. So if that's the route you want to go, ultimately it's up to you. But I'm going to let you know that they're cracking down on that, and they have put out information to dissuade people and let them know that they have cracked down on it. That's not something that they plan on letting people do long term. So they will check your passport, look at the stamps, and see how often you've been here. And you don't want to get blacklisted, because once you do, you get caught overstaying and things like that. You might not be able to ever come back to the country, and it just makes it that much harder if you do want to go and do education visa or the DTV visa in the future. So yes, and this is the EV supporter. So let's have this pulled up for you guys. It's actually this one. And this is what it will look like. You can go in here, create an account, fill out the application, upload supporting documents, pay the visa fee, wait for the visa to be approved, and you'll get it through email. And if you are interested and want to know if you actually need a visa, even if it's just a tour visa, you can come here, select your country, and then they'll, you know, let you know. I don't know. Yep. So you don't need a visa. You can come in and, get your arrival card and stuff like that, and boom. So if you're from Spain, you're good to go. But this is the e-visa official website. You can sign in and have some information about the tourist visa, studying visa, work and business visa, and things like that. Yes. And so it's actually pretty easy, guys. Like I said, you can come here, click the visa category you're interested in, and you can see the information for yourself. So we have the workcation, which is the one I did, and the one I talked about. As you can see, it has some required documents, so the biodata, photograph taken last 6 months, documents including visa, accommodation, stuff like that. And then financial evidence, no less than 500,000 baht. Bank statements for the last 3 months. Like I said, I suggest you do six because they oftentimes they will end up asking for six. And employment contract or employment certificate in the country or a professional portfolio showcasing, that you're a digital nomad, remote worker, foreign talent, or freelancer status. So basically, if you're saying you know, sustain yourself through self-employment or the case may be, or through a company, they want you to have a certificate from your company saying you are approved and will be getting paid while you're here. And yeah, that's the workation. If you go to the Thai soft power, which is the Muay Thai cooking or like, medical, you see it's still multiple entries, still 5 years. But that fifth one is different. So it's no longer asking for, proof of, um, you know, funds from work, or certificate or you to, provide portfolio or anything like that. You just have to have the $500,000, but, and then the confirmation of the activity that you're supposed to be doing and you're good to go. So let's go back to this. And yeah, so if you do get approved, you have the TM30, which is basically saying, like I said, this is where you live at. That's something the owner of your apartment or condo or wherever you stay should be filling out and reporting. And then you will have to report every 90 days or 180 days. And so for the 90 days, you basically go to the immigration and just let them know that you are, still alive, still doing okay in the country and everything is good. You don't have to leave the country for 90 days. But for the 5 year visa, every 180 days, you still need to go get another stamp. So yeah, so I will be going over that process, and once I get to that mark for me, I'll go and make a video about that, and maybe I'll link it to this documentation for anybody that's interested in how that process works. They do have some tools, so they have a 90-day online notification to let you know your 90 days may be coming up. Then they had the notification for residents for foreigners, the TM30, which, like I said, the owner should be providing or, filling out for you. But if not, you definitely want to let them know because it's still your responsibility also. And then you can extend if you have the travel visa. You can do all those things from this site, which I have listed on the document. But that's pretty much it, guys. Like, outside of just getting documentation and making sure you meet the requirements, um, you know, you're good to go. Just make sure you package it properly, and yeah, you pay the fee. I think the fee is like $340 to apply. If you don't get approved, you don't get the money back, so there's no refunds for it. And that is why I have went and created this document to try to help and provide some insight on, what it is you may need and if you are even eligible and ready for it. This is just a comparison table. You guys can go through this on your own if you want to. It does have some other types here, but this probably won't apply to most people. Um, as you can see, the membership fees and things like that, and the age 50 years plus and stuff. So, yeah, hopefully this helps somebody save you some time or save you some money. If you don't, meet the requirements, then maybe you can save your money until you do.